Welcome back to another episode of the Todd Durkin Impact Show. And the show continues. It's like a TV network series here of the Reinvention and Rebranding series. And I cannot say thank you enough. I know y'all been on pins and needles and walking on eggshells waiting for this one to drop after last week's bomb, talking about this almost killed me. Well, today we're talking about, and then my back broke. But before we do that, I got to say thank you. The record-setting social media comments are off the hook. I was perusing them over the past week after sharing that, and I want to say thank you. Here's what some of y'all said. I never knew. Oh my God, how the heck? Wow, ... Thanks for showing up, TD. Thank you for inspiring us. And your comments went on and on and on and on. When I tell you that I read every comment, every text, every DM that you send me, I read them all. They are what keep me going. That's what keeps me going. And please keep them coming. You can probably now see why I'm sharing this all with you so that it makes sense. And you realize, just like you, I'm one of you who has a great desire and a great vision and dream to impact people globally, but it really takes going where you don't want to go. I wasn't sure back in episode 301, whether I wanted to share all this. I shared that with you. I was in tears. And after seeing your comments, I'm so glad I listened to my gut and intuition and faced my own fear of, I think I need to do this. And I'm in the middle of it right now. And please keep asking your questions. I shared last week that I'm going to use your questions for our final episode in this series, the Reinvention and Rebranding series. So if you have any questions on anything I've already said, we'll say today or future forward in this, please make sure you ask. You can ask via our text community. That number is always in the show notes, but it's 619-304-2216. That is my phone. I'm holding my phone in my hand if you're watching on YouTube. But text me. That's me. I'll get back to you. 619-304-2216. And please share this if you can. Please get this word out there. We want to make sure we get this in the hands of people who are going to be inspired and motivated as well. And keep the comments coming. Thank you so much. Your comments saved me in 2020. They saved me in 2020, and I still look at them today because they are the fuel. And in 2020, in the Good News Network and all the social media, even in 2021, I had to keep showing up. And while sometimes I feel like I was being broken, I know that really it was just God recreating me and reinventing me and challenging me to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's why I'm really, really excited for the rebrand and everything that we're doing, because really the reinvention, it's not a quote brand new thing. It's really just going deeper. And isn't that what a reinvention is all about? So now a few weeks into this, I'm going to ask you about your reinvention project. How's it going? How is your reinvention going? What are you contemplating? What are you thinking about? Where are you empty, lost, broken, frustrated, burnt out? And you're looking to recapture that mojo. You're looking to recapture that juju. And you're looking to get that edge back in your life. Guys, it's been a 3+ year process for me. I mean, it's been longer than that, but the last 3 years, I went back all the way to strong of, hey, here's where I started feeling this ceiling all the way through what I'm sharing in this series. Sometimes I call it broken or blessed. Sometimes I call it beautifully broken. None of us like to be broken. None of us. I hate being broken. But I also, when you change your mindset toward it and you open up the opportunities, the bottom line is this: you're not done. You're not dead, because if you were dead, you wouldn't be listening to this. So that means you're alive and you're looking for more life. And that's the purpose, 303 episodes into this bad boy, of what we do and why we do it, right? So Thank you, and thank you some more. I'm so fired up. I'm grateful that we have a podcast, that this podcast can reach people all over the globe, whether it's here near San Diego. We have our own Fitness Quest 10 clients who listen in. We've got people in our community and city and state, all the way to the East Coast, all the way across multiple continents. And I absolutely love it. So thank you for listening in, and thank you for sharing it as well. So let's dive into the episode. and then my back broke. Well, oh man, oh gosh, buckle up your bootstraps, my friends. Hopefully right now, if you're out for a walk, jog, or working out, you can be grateful that you are moving, because in 2021, there were times when I could not move. You remember how I told you in December 2nd, 2020, I had a knee surgery, that second knee surgery? Well, the second knee surgery, like the first knee surgery, they took 9 degrees of curvature out of my left knee, like they did my right knee. So when they took 9 degrees out of my right knee to align my right side, and then took 9 degrees of curvature, bow-leggedness, out of my left side, it was so that I'd be aligned. Makes sense biomechanically. Ankles, knees, hips, perfect alignment, very good, bada bing, bada boom, and we rock and roll. Well, what happened was, remember that back injury I was telling you about way back in the day, 1995, the beginning of the end of quarter one, season one of my life, 0 to 25. Well, what ended that was a serious back injury that left me with 3 herniated discs, spinal stenosis, degenerative back disease. And fortunately, I did not have to have surgery then. Well, 25 years later, to the day, 25 years later, when I had this surgery and they took the curvature out of my legs, now all of a sudden, think about this. If my back was already scoliotic, right, I only had a little bit of scoliosis in it. Now you straighten my legs, something's got to give. Straighten my right leg, straighten my left leg. Well, guess what gave? My back. My back was pulled like a bow and arrow. This is what I learned after the fact, as I share with you. And my back literally was beginning to kill me. I didn't know why 6 weeks after, but this is what happened. I'm getting physical therapy on my left knee. My back starts hurting. I tell the physical therapist, my man Martin, never forget my man Martin. I'm like, man, can you work on my back today? It's killing me. It's absolutely killing me. He's like, your back? Why your back? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure, but he starts working my back. Well, on February 17th, 2021, which was my 20th wedding anniversary, I went and got an x-ray on my back. I remember that because it was that same day my wife and I were supposed to go to Sedona, Arizona for our wedding anniversary weekend. That's where we took our honeymoon after our wedding. And if you've ever had an x-ray, you stand in front of the x-ray machine, the x-ray tech goes behind the machine and he snaps the button and you hear a little noise. Well, that's what happened. And then this is what I heard. And I'll quote the x-ray tech. Holy what the Those were his words, not my words. I didn't complete the sentence, but you probably got what he said. And I said, is everything okay back there? He said, and I knew what he had just said was in relation to my back. I grabbed my phone, I went around the door, and I took a picture of what was my back. I said, is that my back? He said, I'm afraid to say it is. Your doctor will be calling you in a matter of hours. That's all I can say. Less than an hour later, my doctor called me and said, Todd, I have a question. Did you serve in Afghanistan? Were you in the military and you had a deployment overseas? I said, Doc, no. I wish I could say I did, but no, I have not. He said, because your back is absolutely annihilated. how are you doing what you're doing? How are you getting up and on stages and speaking, and how are you training and doing all the things you're doing? I said, Doc, what are you talking about? He said, when we look at this, there's no space anywhere in your lumbar spine. Your discs are gone, all of them. There's a 39-degree curvature of your spine. How are you walking? How are you not in such excruciating pain? And just like that, my life changed. He said, I need you to go see the back deformity specialist. I'm like, that doesn't sound good. What is a back deformity specialist? He said, well, that's a specialist. There's back specialists, which I'm not, but there's a back specialist, and then there's a deformity back specialist, where children or adults go with the most challenging back issues of anything. I said, well, great, sign me up. I went and saw this back deformity specialist, and I'll remember that conversation for the rest of my life. Now, before I go there, I must say, it took almost a month to get in to the back deformity specialist with a very severe back issue. And I was starting to feel some really, really excruciating pain. I could no longer work out. I couldn't work out. Guys, I don't think I've ever missed 3 workouts, like more than 3 days in a row of not working out. In my life, I don't really know if I've ever missed like this stretch, unless I was gravely sick, which I really have never been that sick. But I couldn't work out. I couldn't sleep. As a matter of fact, I could only sleep in one position. On my left side, fetal position, pillow between my knees. I used to sleep on my stomach. I couldn't sleep on my stomach. I couldn't sleep on my back, and I couldn't sleep on my right side. Have you ever tried to sleep in one position all night? Otherwise, you wake up where you feel like you have a knife sticking you in your spine. I couldn't sleep. I was using painkillers again, Vicodin, or popping ibuprofens, about 10 a day. Tylenol or ibuprofen PM at night. And I was wearing a back brace underneath all my stuff so no one could see the pain that I was in. I was still training, but I had a back brace on, and I'd be keeled over in that universal great coaching position. And they thought, oh, TD is fired up today. Hands on the knees, bent over. But one of the reasons why I always wore that gray hoodie was so they wouldn't see. They wouldn't see the back brace, because I didn't want them to know that I was in pain. But I wouldn't tell anyone I was in pain, because I didn't want to become my back again. I didn't want to be like, hey, Todd, how's your back? Hey, how's your back? How's your back? How's your back? I'm not my back. I'm a spiritual being that has a heart and a soul and other limbs of my body that still work. But here I am, my back is killing me. You get it? Have you ever been there before where you're so broken, but you don't want to share, because then that becomes your knee or your back or your head or whatever's going on? And I just tried to suck it up. But out of that entire year, I'm just going to share 3 of the things that defined the depths of my despair. Why? Because I can promise you right now, as I share this podcast and record it here in May of 2023, is that I'm not in pain. My back feels great. I haven't had the surgery, so don't feel sorry for me yet. But there's a reason why. And there's a reason why. When I look at 2021, and I went to that back deformity specialist in March of 2021, just a couple days shy of my birthday, I heard these words from the doc. these are not words that any of you ever want to hear from a doctor. Well, this might be the worst back I've ever seen. That's what I heard. Not so funny. This is going to be a very serious surgery. It might be. This is going to be a very serious surgery. This is going to be a 12 to 14 hour procedure. I said, excuse me, doc, how do you do a 12 to 14 hour surgery? He said, well, what happens is it's over 2 days. I said, I've never heard of a 2-day surgery. 6 hours on one day on one side, and then we flip you over the next day, and it's another 6 to 8 hours on the backside. I'm like, never even heard of a 12 to 14 hour surgery. And just like that, my back started hurting even worse. It was like he was giving me permission to just feel all this pain matriculate down my legs and to get slap foot and to feel innervations and things that I had not been experiencing, even though I was in great pain. When he told me that, everything started hurting even worse. It was like I was getting permission to feel worse. And the thought of getting on a plane to speak was not even comprehensible. So I needed a serious back surgery. Have you ever had your head between your tail so much that you didn't even know, let alone, how am I going to do this? But should I do this? Could I do this? Is it worth it? Have you ever been so low that you don't know how you're ever going to get through this? Perhaps in the lowest of low times, I got in the car with my wife, Melanie, after that appointment, and I started to bawl, cry like a baby, like I hadn't cried in years, crying. Why me? How can God do this to me? Here I am. I just, after last year, 2020, in the middle of the worst pandemic and making these major changes in my business so that I could rise up and go inspire the world on pulpits and stages and everything that I'm going to be doing to change and motivate and inspire the world. Now I can't even do it. I can't even travel. I can hardly walk. How dare he do this? My mission, hun, is to inspire 10 million people to impact. Why? Why? And then Melanie said something that I'll never forget. She said, stop feeling sorry for yourself right now. Have you ever thought long and hard enough? Oof, I'm going to get emotional. I'm trying not to get emotional. Have you ever thought the 10 million people that you've been wanting to change aren't going to be the 10 million people that God is going to have you change? Maybe 10 million is a small number. Maybe it's going to be 100 million or 1 billion people, and he's going to use you as a vehicle through your pain, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. He's brought you to your knees for a reason, because he's going to use you the way he wants to use you, not the way you're going to use you because the way you think you're going to go out and change the world. He's got another plan. It's time for you to give in to that plan. And boy, did I just cry like a baby. But I don't want that. That's not my plan. It's not about you. It's not about you, Todd. It's about you being obedient to what God wants you to do. One of those moments where I wanted to not hug her, but I wanted to hug her. I cried and we hugged, and she promised me that she'd be there every step of the way through the surgery and everything else. But I didn't want to tell anybody. Podcast after podcast, episode after episode. Yeah, I shared some of the things with my knee pain and overcoming that. But here I was facing perhaps the greatest challenge of my life, far greater than strong, far greater than my first back injury. And I had some soul searching to do. some deep, deep soul searching to do, because it was time to come to grips with a 14-hour back surgery. That was the first thing that stood out in 2021. The second thing was a trip to Mexico. June of 2021, my oldest son, Luke, he's now 20, but he was 18 then. It was their senior trip. So many of the seniors and the parents go to Mexico. And this was just starting to get back. I didn't want to go. I wasn't a fan of going down there because I was in pain, but I felt like a loser dad if I didn't go, and all the other moms and dads were there, but Todd's big time in us and not going to show up. So I went in June of 2021 to Cabo San Lucas. And I was in a lot of pain. Perhaps it even got worse. But what happened was it got so bad where I was out of painkillers. And I went to the pharmacy. In Mexico, you can go to the pharmacy and over the counter get Vicodin or any other painkiller you want. And I did that. Thank God it's not now, because now with this whole fentanyl thing and everything else, you just never know. But in 2021, I did that. And I had my Vicodin, I had my painkillers. And on that Saturday night down in Cabo, I woke up at 2:30 in the morning in such excruciating pain that I was in the bathroom puking from pain. So much to the point where I woke up Melanie and said, "Hun, take me to the ER now. Take me to the emergency room now." She said, "We can't do that. We're in Mexico. You can't. It's not like you're going to get surgery in Mexico." I said, "I might need to. I can't function. I'm locked. My back is killing me. I don't know what to do. I've got painkillers in me." Oof. And on a bathroom floor in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, Melanie and I prayed. We prayed that somehow, miraculously, this pain, we'd get through it and I'd get back to the States. And we did. Guys, if you've ever been to the ER, wherever you live, whatever country you live in, it's never a good experience. You never want to go to the ER. Thank God we have a good ER when we need a good ER. But when you are in crippling back pain and you are willing to go to the ER in Mexico, I would have been blessed to see them at that point, but that's not where I wanted to end up that night, in an ER in Cabo, Mexico. And fortunately, we didn't have to. And the third and final thing I'll share about my back in 2021 was what was supposed to be a monumental day, is dropping Luke off to college. You know, the parents dropped their kids off to college, and he was going to Davidson College, which is in Davidson, North Carolina, right outside Charlotte. And this was now in August. He was reporting for football, and we drop him off in early August. And typically the parents set up their rooms and they wish their kids good. Except me. I was stuck in the hotel room in such crippling back pain that I called Luke and said, "Luke, you got Mom and Brady and McKenna? Son, I can't get over there." Now, I got to tell you, I got a high pain threshold, and I would never miss a monumental event if I truly could do it. But I was laid up in a hotel room in tears thinking, what a dad would not show up to drop his kid off. And I was stuck in that hotel room in North Carolina as I popped painkillers because I couldn't walk, thinking, I'm ready for the surgery. I'm ready. Well, how does this story end? Lots of epidurals, many of them. One was so bad that a doctor didn't even talk to me. to the point where when he came in, I was on the table on the MRI machine where they do that. They line your back, and you ever had an epidural in your back where they shoot it right exactly into the spot? Well, fortunately, the nurse had her hand on me, because when he asked me to turn my head to the right, he never introduced himself, never said his name, never said a word other than I felt like a cattle being prodded. Boom, excruciating pain. Remember, to be on my stomach killed by itself. And here I was. I went out to the car, and guess what happened? Melanie was in there, and I began to cry again. I don't think I've ever cried so much as in 2021. I thought 2020 was a bad year. 2021 was worse, because physically and mentally, I was whooped. I was more than exhausted. I was more than burnt out, because pain crushes you. It crushes your spirit. It crushes your soul. And here I am. Felt soulless in so many levels, because I was praying like a champ. But I had my second major knee surgery. I had a major back flare up, and COVID is still kind of going on. There's this weird workplace thing, this hybrid workplace. And people are like, man, fortunately, there's this virtual keynotes I could do and get on for 30 to 60 minutes and fire people up for my own home office. So I took it upon myself. I recreated the roots where I sit right here, right now, my original facility upstairs at Fitness Quest 10 to be the TDE global headquarters, podcast studio, media room, and hosting my own events. Mastermind, let's go. Launching God-Sized Dream, let's go. Impact certification program, let's go. God's calling me to do greater things. Might as well suck it up and get through it. Kept podcasting and serving, didn't miss an episode. Going deeper and deeper in my own faith walk, believe that. And FQ10 was in some ways it was like a mind screw. I was in this new relationship as the grandpa of that, but I couldn't train the way I wanted to train, and I wasn't leading FQ10 the way I used to. So have you ever started a business or founded a business and it's part of your soul? For me, Fitness Quest 10 still is. It's like my baby. But it was this new relationship, and here I am in pain, and it was confusing, and why now? And all of these things, it became so mucky and so not where I wanted to be. I don't know if you can feel me on this, but can you understand of what that felt like? All of this confusion and trying to find a new rhythm, trying to reset here in 2021. And then in the fall of 2021, my pain went away. It went away. Like gone. So much pain to the point where I was ready, scheduled a 14-hour surgery. I had seen 6 back doctors, not 2, not 3, 6 back doctors, navigating the system of who's the best and all these things. And let me tell you what, I came across some godsends. There are some amazing doctors. There are some amazing back doctors. And when I need that surgery, man, oh man, I know who I'm going to. I know who my medical team's going to be, but not quite yet and not quite now. And I can't say what it was. I'm not sure it was one thing, because there were so many things that I was doing. So many things. Peptides, prayers, L-DOA, the Egoscue method with my man Brian Bradley, stem cells, time. I found BFR. And for the first time, I could start to do things like actually take a walk again, because I was just doing bear crawls in the backyard because I couldn't walk around the block. I was in the worst shape of my life in 2020. The worst shape of my life. Imagine months of not doing anything. I couldn't lie on a bench to do a dumbbell bench press with 10 pounds, not because of my chest, because I couldn't lie because of my back. I couldn't stand. I couldn't do anything with my lower body. The only thing I could do was arm farm. So I'd sit there. That's why I started 2021, started talking arm farm all day. Arm farm every darn day. Arm farm, baby. Arm farm. Arm farm. Why? I wasn't trying to get big arms. I was trying to use the pump and the endorphin release to get my mind right. That's what it was all about, was getting my mind right. 2021, and start getting these BFR bands on. And I'm telling you, it was like 10, 15 pound dumbbell curls and feeling an explosion in my body that felt like I was alive again. For the first time in over 2 years, I started feeling life again. I'm like, man, where has this been? And I started walking again and taking Jersey out again and feeling like there was life again and doing push-ups and rows and all of the things. I was like, man. And after almost 2 years of some of the worst workouts, I started feeling like some of my best workouts came. And, why did all this happen? I asked myself, why did all this happen? I don't want to ask, why am I out of pain? Because when you're out of pain, that's all you want to be, is out of pain. But when I think about, if anyone out there, and I could write a book just on this, but I'm going to drop it on the pod for today, and I'll save it when this book comes out. Like I shared a couple episodes ago, this should all be a book, not a series. Maybe it's a TV series, but it's a podcast series for now. Is back in 95 when the back went out and they told me I needed surgery that ended my football career when I wanted to be an NFL quarterback. Fortunately, I didn't get that. But that 5-year period from 95 to 2000 became a lot of soul searching and healing. And that led me ultimately from the East Coast to Malibu to work with Michael King and King World, who produced Oprah Winfrey, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, which led me to San Diego to go to grad school to meet my future wife, Melanie, in grad school, which led me to turn down a full-time strength and conditioning position at the time to open up my business called Fitness Quest 10, where I started serving people with back pain and pain in their body. And because I understood pain at that point, I understood fascia from working with Double E and got into roughing and structural integration and deep tissue massage and Thai massage and body work, along with the Western world of strength conditioning and plyometrics and speed training. And for 25 years, that's what I've done as a coach, as a strength and conditioning coach, and working with some of the world's best athletes and entrepreneurs and high performers and all of these things. Isn't it interesting when I share here 25 years later that the worst and last 3 years of 2020, 21, and 22 were some of the toughest times of my life. Why? Because I believe that when looking back in 3 to 5 years from now, I'm going to look back and say, God, you are one big master planner. If I could have predicted being in pain so much to the point where my back was broken and I'm crying in a car to my wife about 10 million people, and you're sitting there saying, young buck, you didn't know at age 50 what I had planned. But thank you for trusting me, because you did. See, we don't know those answers. I don't know those answers. But part of this reinvention and this rebrand is to share with you the pain that I've endured over years and years and years, 3 to 5 to be exact, in the last 3 to 5 years. I know you have experienced pain too, but that's why I share it, because you're not alone. I'm not alone. Your words kept me alive. Hopefully, like my words today, are keeping you alive. Because guess what? If I just dropped the rebrand on you and started dropping logos and all these new things and new hats and gear and garb, like, hey, this is cool stuff. What a disservice I'd be doing you, because you didn't know the blood, the sweat, the tears, the all-out breakdowns that were happening over the period of years of complete burnout and things. Am I making the right decision? I don't know. I'll know soon. So think about that. Here are my lessons. My top takeaways. Number 1, 2020, 2021. It's really hard to serve when you're in pain. It's really hard to serve when you're in pain. I'm not sure what field you're in or what career you're in, but let's say it's even sales. It's hard to be a good saleswoman or salesman when you are in pain because you're not at your best. Let's say you're in healthcare. Let's say you are a trainer or you're a coach, or let's say you're a doctor or a nurse or a first responder. You can't be the best if you're in pain. You can't be the best woman or the best man if you're in pain, because pain is all consuming. Pain gets in your head and you can't serve the way you want, but you got to continue to serve. Number 2, your pain is not who you are, but it's easy to have your pain consume you. Remember, your pain is not who you are. Now, the reason why I didn't share with you or most other people back when my back was killing me was because I didn't want you to ask me all the time about my back. What I love is, hey, TD, how you doing? How's your heart? How's your soul? Just like I would ask you. Sometimes I'm going to ask more probing question. How's your health? How's your health? Because we know this. He or she who has their health has 1,000 dreams. And he or she who does not has one, your health. I know that firsthand. I've lived it. Not just as a coach for 25 plus years and changing thousands of lives. Not just that, but my own personal health. In going through the journey that God's got me on back, which ended my career. And now this journey that I've been on the last 5 years in going through this with my own health. Thinking, man, third lesson. Thank God for good doctors. Again, I've seen 6 different back doctors in 21 and 22. And I continue to stay dialed in with my routine. And I'm so pleased to tell you today that while I'm not perfect and I don't back squat, I can't back squat. I can work legs. I can lie on a bench supine. I can sleep on my back. I can sleep on both sides. And I'm sleeping again. Not as much as I want to, but I'm sleeping again. Far more than the 2, 3, or 4 hours I slept on average per night in 2021. Yeah, that ain't good. Because when you ain't sleeping, you can't recover. And when you can't recover, your mind ain't right. So let me tell you what, thank God for good doctors. Number 4, your body has an innate way of communicating to you. Your body keeps score. And for many years, my body's been inflamed. It's been going hard, right? All out, 7 days a week, not being graceful enough to my body. Yes, the occasional massage, not enough yoga, not enough stretching. Maybe this is like a confession, but perhaps there's areas that you can do better as well. Maybe there's some reminders that I don't want you to go down the road that I've traveled in a lot of ways. I don't want you to feel the pain that I felt. I don't want you showing up at emergency rooms in your hometown or when you're on vacation or you're doing things of foreign countries that you don't even know the language. And when you think your body's out of alignment, it probably is. But sometimes your body keeps score out of alignment because sometimes you're not allowing yourself the recovery that's necessary. And now as I move forward and forward with my new rebrand and new reinvention in these next 25 years, 25, where 2 years ago, I was like, I'm retiring, I'm done. I want to go out in the land and just chill. Now it's like, man, I'm re-inspired to know this is that life is a dance. Life is a harmony. And if you don't know setback, if you don't know overwhelm, if you don't know burnout, if you don't know all the setback stuff, well, then you just don't take it for granted. You take it for granted when you're actually feeling like you're in harmony and you're in peace. So if you're in harmony, you're in peace and you're in happiness and you're in fulfillment now, awesome, great. But isn't life found in that dance between your greatest fears and your greatest fulfillment? Number 5, sleep is really, really important. I didn't get much sleep in 2021. That's not good. Back was so bad that I shared with you earlier that, man, it kept me up. And that exacerbated my own pain and symptoms. But when you can't sleep, you can't sleep. So you go and take the Tylenol PMs. And next thing you know, you're taking them every night, week after week, month after month, year after year. Not good to have to rely on Tylenol PM. Sleep, dial it in. When I created my impact journal, one of the reasons why last year I created an impact journal was exactly that. My nighttime routine was so jacked up, working till all hours of the night to try to save people. And I was working, my mind was racing, still does to this day. But that nighttime routine, 3-2-1, 3 hours meal, 2 hours cut off work, last hour, personal care, amps up, including journaling, 3-2-1. And number 6, find ways to move. Movement is medicine. Movement is medicine. So when I say movement is medicine, when you move, there is going to be a dose that's released. Not a dose of Durkin. You can sign up for that bad boy. The dose: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. This is really good. We want a dose when you move. 2021, when I couldn't move, I was trying to find ways to move when I wasn't in pain. And I would literally bear crawl 5 yards forward and 5 yards backward in the backyard, because that's all I could do to try to get a little bit of a sweat. Because I knew when I was sweating, there was going to be a little bit of lubrication in the joints, and good things were going to happen, because it would be a little bit of a hormonal response to get some growth hormone happening. And I found the BFR bands again. And the BFR was like, okay, I can't lift 25 or 35 pound dumbbells doing arm curls. Like normally that's not that heavy, but because my back was so inflamed that it would kill me even standing there or sitting there to do that. Find ways to move. When your knees are bad, work your upper body. If you got something going on with your lower body or your upper body, do it to your lower body. Figure it out. Work with a coach, work with a physical therapist, work with a trainer, work with someone who knows the body. Work with someone to get your mind right on a regular basis. If you got to call me, call me. You want to sign up for one of the coaching programs to go deeper, that's fine too. But find someone who's going to hold you accountable regardless how bad your pain is. And number 7, and lastly, trust in God more than ever when you're in pain. When you're in pain. I kept saying, am I broken or am I blessed? Am I broken or am I blessed? And when I think about beautifully broken, I don't know if that's an oxymoron or not, but I know this is God kept whispering to me, I got you right where I need you. I'm like, no, God, that's not good. I'm not. Can you speed things up? I need to get going again. I need to start speaking again. I need to get on planes again. And I need to be traveling again. You're right where I need you. Trust me. Keep serving, keep sharing, keep showing up. And that's what I did. 2021. And then my back broke. I'm going to end today with saying this. While this episode is over, the series is not. Unfortunately, 2020 and 2021 were as bad as it got. It's as bad as it gets. But I am so tremendously grateful now, looking back, having gone through that, of the depth that it's taken me. Why? Because people like you, that when you have gone through it, or if you're going through it now, I can relate. If you've ever been in pain, physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, you know how bad it can be. And if you've been there and you've done that, the empathy, the compassion, the love that you feel when someone says, man, I just had a knee replacement, or hey, TD, I'm going through a knee replacement. What should I expect? Or I'm really experiencing some really bad back issues. I'm like, oh, I know about bad backs. From the high athlete, from when I was competing to working with athletes for 25 years who suffered really serious back injuries, to experiencing them again myself, to entrepreneurs, people who used to operate at the highest level, but all of a sudden feel overwhelmed, or burnt out, or stressed, or exhausted. I'm like, TD, I don't feel like I got the mojo anymore. I don't know if I still got it. Guess what? I used to feel that way too. It's called 2020 and 2021. And that's what life was. And this reinvention project series I'm in, this rebranding, that's what it's all about. Because last I checked, you ain't done yet. And neither am I. How was that, my friends? How was that? Again, I got to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me to share my heart and soul with you. Do you now understand what a disservice I'd be doing that if I just dropped this rebrand on you and reinvention, but didn't share what I went through? You wouldn't understand what I had been through and still go through. I shared back in episodes 1 and 2 that this is going to be the most reels of real episodes and podcasts of all time. And I've done that for 303 episodes now. But 301, 2, 3, man, that's about as real as it gets. And I want to say this, not only thank you, but can you please share this episode? I know there's someone out there who's hurting. I know that maybe it's you. Maybe you're going through an inkling of physical, mental, or emotional pain. Hey, perhaps even spiritual pain. And I want to encourage you. I want to pray with you. I want to help you in everything that you're doing. Please share this, because there are other people who are walking a similar path. See, you never knew about me. You never thought, no way. TD's just spitting out products and programs like it's his job. It goes way beyond a job, my friend. It's called a crusade. It's called a mission. When God calls to do things, we got to show up and do them, even when we're hurting. And in 2020, in 2021, and even 2022, there were times where I didn't know if I could show up, but I kept showing up. And I hope that gives you a little glimpse of motivation, inspiration for you in any struggle or challenge that you might be going through, that you can regain your mojo. You can get it back. You'll get your energy back, but we got to work at it. I'll help you. I'll hold your hand. I'll coach you at whatever level you want to, but you got to keep going. You got to keep showing up. Please share this episode. Please share. Someone in your network needs it. You can share it. You can just text it to them, or you could snap a picture right here, tag me on your social media, and say, must listen to episode. TD, I didn't know. Just like how I started this, I'm going to read your comments. I'm going to read your comments on my social media from this episode, and I want to see the shares, and I want to see the world proliferate with hope and energy and inspiration and wisdom, so that when you're broken, you don't give up. Yo, kids, can you hear me? You don't give up. Parents, you too. It's happening to us too. Heck, I'm a 52-year-old man. Happens to us. Kids, don't give up. Even when you got God in your life, it's hard enough. Don't give up. So share this episode. Share it. And I can't wait. Here's what's going to happen future forward. Next week on the episode, I'm like, yo, another cliffhanger. Here we go. I'm going to round it out. I told you 3 years, 3 of my toughest years, 2022. Not quite as bad as 2021, but there are a couple things that happened that you're like, TD, why did you do that? That was stupid. Yeah, because guess what? When your mind is all over the place and you're digging deep, you're grasping for straws sometimes. And I did some dumb things in 2022 that got me a little off track from some of my North Star things. So I want to recalibrate you back to your North Star. I want to make sure that you come back and that you're on point. And if you're on point, I remind you to stay on point. Because the bottom line is this: when I talk about motivating and inspiring people, the greatest and creating impact every day, that's why this podcast exists. That's why my programs, my coaching, my speaking, the keynotes, that's why I exist. And that's what impact is all about. So until next time, remember, train hard, eat right, live inspired, and go create impact. Hey, thanks again for listening to today's episode. Don't forget, you've also probably seen that I came out with a new program recently for all our young quarterbacks and pitchers. If you know a quarterback or pitcher or swimmer or any overhead athlete, my new QB Strong program is a program that's 8 weeks long, and you do not need to be with me in San Diego live. I created this 8-week program along with my sons, Luke and Brady. It was a legacy type project. And I want to take all the programming that I've been using for 20 plus years as a coach and a strength and conditioning trainer, so that all of our high school and middle school throwers here, with our season soon approaching, typically in August, we've got about 8 weeks of good, hard training that needs to take place. So I want to encourage you to hop over to toddurkin.com, take a look at QB Strong. It's all done via our app. It's on an app. Each and every exercise has video support. There's some extra audio message in there for you to get your mind right, because as a quarterback, as a pitcher, as a leader, you got to have your mind right, your body right, and that's what QB Strong is all about. So take a look today. If you know a quarterback or a pitcher that needs to get in the best shape of their life right now, QB Strong. Check it out, toddurkin.com, and check out QB Strong.